Well, good evening, folks. Hope you're well. It's Friday. I think it's the 15th of March, without my glasses on. I hope you're well. Uh, some time ago, I had a bit of a cull of some videos that I did, and I thought I'd saved them, but apparently not. So, a few of those videos I regret deleting because I was concerned over my channel being shut down because I was being racist. And I needn't have worried, quite frankly. But you know how it is when you panic. So what I thought I'd do, not that I'm running out of topics to talk about, but I don't want to talk about Brexit anymore. I'm all politicked out. But what I do want to talk about is race. Yes, this word. Why are we all so scared to talk about race? You know, I can understand the religion bit. I truly can. Because religion is a man-made concept, but race isn't. The colour of our skin and the way we are, it's a God-given thing, if that's your thing, isn't it? I was born white Caucasian, there we are. So I'm comparing people who were born Negro, Arab, and Caucasian, and Chinese, Asian, shall we say, Chinese, Japanese. It's hard for me to tell the difference between a Japanese person and a Chinese person, quite frankly. All I see is that. Okay, and they're a lot shorter than we are. But, so, I want to talk about the race. And then we can talk about other things like geography and countries. And why we have countries and why I think countries are very important, that they are not homogenized. Despite the best, attempts of the elite to bastardize our world and homogenize the whole planet into one easy, manageable mash of different cultures, no borders, and very dissimilar language, you see, and they try to manage this lot by degrading and having a go at someone and tearing someone a new ass. They call them anti-Semite. That's you can't knock Jews. Well, I'm not. I'm a racist because I'm white, and I very dare I talk about black people. But black people talk about white people, and they don't get done for being racist. Jews talk about the Goyim, and they don't get done for being racist. It's only the white Christians, quite frankly, that get a new ass ripped every time we open our mouths. But there is a way to differentiate who is the senior, and I mean this most sincerely, the senior race on this earth, and that is white Caucasians. Have I mentioned language? No. Have I mentioned religion? No. I'm just talking about little old me and others I know who are just like me, white Caucasians, male or female, and doing a comparative of looking at a Negro man or a Negro woman. That's not being racist. I'm doing a scientific video here, folks, of comparisons and what makes us different, apart from the obvious. The colour. Other ways we're differentiated. Religion. Well, hang on. I could be heavily into all sorts of religions from the Eastern world, but I'm not. People would say I'm a Christian because I'm a white Caucasian. I'm not. I'm spiritual. I'm not religious. I don't pin my or hitch my wagon onto that particular lot, folks. Whether other people do, it's their business, and I'm not knocking them. What I want to highlight in this video is why I suppose one would consider me a white supremacist. And it's only by the grace of my creator that I end up in this bodysuit with this brain. I think white. That's all. I just think white. Black people think black. Asian people think Asian. Of course, because we're a product, for the most part, of our environment, which has the most influence on the type of person we become. It has, in the words of Dr. Bruce Lipton, it is the environment that will have the biggest impact on the type of person, the company you keep, the books you read, the country you're brought up within. Not so much the religion can actually change people. People are known to change total character when they get into a new religion. But for the most part, I think white. And I can appreciate other cultures, but I am eternally grateful. And it's one of the things that I think I've been so lucky that I was born a white male. Not only white, but I was born in England, which I think is the most marvellous country in the world. And I am entirely happy with my lot in that life, in that respect. Because it's an allocation of a gene pool, isn't it, basically? I want to look at, really, why I am so proud to be white and British. Not so much British, but just a white Caucasian male. Because I'm part of a very exclusive club. Because the world wouldn't be as it is, advanced as it is, without white Caucasians, male or female. You see, it is the white people of this world who are the great inventors. And I would challenge anybody who to just tell me if they contest that. Just give me 20 inventions, 20, or let's just say 10 inventions that a non-white person has invented. Just 10. That have benefited the world, not themselves, not their fellow countryfolk, but that people have said, wow, and they've shared it throughout the world. Give me 10 inventions, just 10. I'm just showing you 5. Just give me 5. But I can give you hundreds of inventions and discoveries, scientific, that the white Caucasians have done and discovered and designed and brought to the world for the benefit of mankind. If you think that's a tough one, let me just give you a few examples. Let's just have a think. Okay, here we go. The internal combustion engine. White male invention. I say male, I'm not being disrespectful to women, because I know women do invent too. But in that case, the motor engine, internal combustion, man. White male. The jet engine. Well, that was an idea of Sir Frank Whittle. White male. Okay, the white male. Sir Frank Whittle invented the jet engine. And you would argue that it was the Yanks. It was not Americans at all. the sad news for Frank Whittle was that even though he got a working prototype on the go with the Gloster Meteor and the other little Gloster aeroplanes he started, Britain wouldn't fund him to go a little bit further with its development, and he had to go to America and sell his soul to that lot who hijacked the whole thing. And Germans, well, they had a different type, but they still, the jet engine technology and the idea was hijacked from Sir Frank Whittle. XREF. So yes, jet engine, white male invention. Any more? Yeah, the internet, white male invention. Something that benefits the world, isn't it? Look at the medicine, penicillin. White male discovery and invention in the development. I could go on, and you know I could go on. Okay. I could rattle them off, one after the other, ad nauseum, and take your time up. And nobody can deny it. It's all there on Google. And that's not being racist. Now we have a difficult problem. Okay. What about gunpowder? Well, that was the Chinese. It certainly was. But it took the Americans in the Silk Road Trading Company, which was basically Britain, to turn gunpowder, which was used for firecrackers and entertainment by the Chinese, and turn it into a weapon. Yes. White male invention, explosives. White male invention, demolition explosives. Again, you see, we took something basic and then we found a really good proper use for it, not just making firecrackers for fireworks. And dare I say, the Apple computer, Steve Jobs, white male, and the other guy that founded Apple. Windows, computer environment software, Bill Gates, white male. The list goes on. And I'm not being a white supremacist here, I'm just stating facts. And we share, don't we? Look at the world of great surgeons. Okay? Plastic surgery as an example. Two of the greatest plastic surgeons you can think of. Well, there's a reconstructive is plastic surgery, but you've got to remember that it's a specialist environment. And who were considered two of the best plastic surgeons in the world? Well, you might not have heard about the Guinea Pig Club. Okay? But plastic surgery was a recent invention, if you like, or a development of two particular guys. One was a guy called Gillies, his surname was Gillies, and the other one was Mackindu. Two white male surgeons. And they were responsible for the development of plastic surgery and the advancement of the fantastic plastic surgery that was done on the very badly burnt Spitfire pilots, where they were guinea pigs for Gillies and Mackindu because they had such burnt faces after the aeroplane crashes. Gillies and Mackindu treated them like guinea pigs for their surgical techniques of plastic surgery. Yeah. And that was done at a place called RAF Hospital Halton. And from that point on, even in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, research and development and techniques were honed at such places by a white male environment. So, is that being racist? You see, folks, it is the white males and females. I have to be sexist about it on this occasion. It is a Caucasian male environment that invents. We are the great inventors. Okay? Aircraft. Wright brothers. Yeah. Compare that, now you understand why. Now, the question on my lips is this. Why can't we get along? Why? If we're such bastards, us whites, why do the black people want to come and live here? The foreign people want to come and live here? And if they do want to come and live here, what are they bringing to the table? Or are they just coming to be parasitic? I mean, come on. How do we in Britain benefit from the massive influx of any foreigners? I don't want to go to their country, quite frankly. I have no intention of wanting to go and live in South Africa. I don't want to go to Japan, thank you very much. I'm perfectly happy where I am. And I'm sure many Americans, yes, don't want lots of different people from different countries walking into their land. Not that it was historically, but let's face facts. It's a predominantly white-dominated country initially, wasn't it? Remember the Mayflower? And Columbus, if you can really believe that story. But it did have an indigenous population of the Indians, didn't it? The natural American Indians. They weren't red and they weren't Indians. They were just Americans. But the white people invaded that country and took it over. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing, but that's the history. And we didn't just destroy a few thousand, the whites, I mean, didn't just destroy a few thousand Indians, red Indians, all this crap. No, we destroyed millions of them. Millions. Not a few tribes, folks. America's a big place. Well, there we are. But why is it a crime? You tell me why it's a crime that we should want to keep Britain white when we share our technology with the rest of the world quite happily for the benefit. Africa benefits from white inventions. Every other country in the world, non-white countries, benefit from management. But I want to know how we in this country, if it's a reciprocal agreement, fair is fair. Tell me. Just 5 things. I'm not going to be talking about food, the curry, and the Chinese takeaways. I'm on about things that benefit everybody. Tell me. Chinese, okay, acupuncture. That's one. Okay, grant you that. That works. Any other things? Self-defense, kung fu, martial arts. Okay, that's 2 then, if you like. Any more? I'm not talking about the motor cars, foreign cars, come on. Okay, but I'm apparently a racist. I'm being a racist now, I'm being inciting racism. I'm not being anti-Semitic, I'm not being anti-black. But I can't understand, you see. We originally started off as a white country, but now look at it. Great Britain. It's not now, is it, a white country? Not really. Because you know and I know it's going to be bastardized so much in the next 50 years that white man, in 50 years will be a minority. And again, in a few short years after that, it'll be extinct. White Caucasian males. And that's the end. Because when you invite and thrust upon a nation and dilute and dilute and dilute with those who don't have our best intentions here, the ones that come here and don't invent, they just use and abuse and are parasitic. But you have to look at why are they here? What are they running away from? They're running away from a country. Are they running away from a country? Or are they attracted by what we have and what they haven't? But ask yourself this, why haven't they got what we've got? Don't tell me people in Saudi Arabia, okay, don't have wash machines. They don't. Are they using electricity? Yeah, for sure. And gas and oil, of course. Are they using internal combustion engines? Yes. Are they using jet engines? Yes. See, we shared. And, you know, we're the sharers. But tell me what we get in return. Very little. And I'm not talking about religion. But I want to know why we can't have a country in this world that's big enough, the flat one. Why can't it be allocated that this country is for white people only? That country is for black people. That one is for Chinese and Japanese and etc. Well, what's wrong with that? You tell me. And I don't want to hear the pros and cons about multiculturalism. I don't have an issue with people coming here to visit and then go back to their own country, thanks very much, as I would if I went to New York. Well, it's not the same. I'd have to know how to be a black country. So, Africa. I have no designs on wanting Africa. I'm perfectly happy where I am. Why would I seek? All I'd want to do is share the benefits with those fellow human beings in Africa. And that's what we did. We went to an underdeveloped country and developed with fundamentally white inventions. And what's wrong with that? Because without us, white Caucasians, and the inventions that we cart around historically and offer and share, these countries, many of them would still be in the Stone Age. Because none of the fellow countrymen invent. All they do is breed and consume and fight amongst one another in their tribes, trying to keep what meagre possessions they do have safe from each other, because they steal from one another and will kill each other with impunity. And they breed and they breed and they breed and consume like locusts. While I'm not judging them, they're forced to do that because they have to have lots of children, because it's such an inclement place to live, many of these countries. The children die young, so you're better off having 6 and hope and pray that 2 of your children will survive because of all the disease and the famine. Because you know, famine, feast, famine, feast. I mean, basically, the more children you have, the more mouths you have to feed. And they like locusts. And now they see, you know, I don't despise people who want to come to the UK for a better life. I truly don't. I don't welcome them with open arms. But now, in our societies, we've shared all we can share. But it's not good enough now. They don't just want the technology and the medical advancements and this. They want it all. But if you took white human beings off the face of this earth, it would be a mess. An absolute mess. Because nothing new would happen. It's the white people that are the inventors. And unfortunately, I will get castigated about this. I will. For being a racist. But we share. We are the inventors. And you could say, no, it's not you white lot. You come to our countries and you take over and you steal all our assets. Hang on a minute. We gave India back. And look what they've done to it. It's never been the same since, has it? Since India thought they were going to have it so good when they kicked the whites out of India. But now look at India. It's back to square one, isn't it? Too many people, too few ideas, and more consume. Look at China. Well, there we are. But I know now, when you look at the atrocity that has just happened in New Zealand, in Christchurch, a guy goes into a mosque and shoots 49 people stone dead. Well, why? What was the motivation for that? You see, it is an atrocious thing to do. But what is the mosque doing in New Zealand? And what got that guy to such a point of frustration that he felt he had to do that? Do you think that he was justified if he was a local, that's saying he just didn't want them in his country because he knows it's not tourism? They are there to invade and take his country over, his land that he loves. And in a mosque, you and I, if you're in England or Britain, you and I cannot go to any Arab country, okay, with our family and our mates, and demand that we are allowed to build a church. You've got to be kidding, haven't you? Yet they want to come to the white Caucasians' country to build a mosque. And how very dare you say no? Well, that's the only thing that sticks up my nose, is the hypocrisy and double standards. Because it's all one-way traffic. It's take, and we're the givers. Why can we not have a country on this world that is only for white people? I don't have a problem with black people, foreign people turning up to visit as long as they go home. But they don't, do they? They covet and they take over, and then they make their demands, then they make their threats because they are uncultured. And this is the deviousness and the evil behind every religion. because religion is the biggest known form of mass mind control on the face of this earth. But you get the arguments from black people saying, well, we want all the whites out of South Africa then. Well, look what's happened. It happened in Rhodesia, didn't it? They kicked all the whites out of there. And now it's a wreck. And South Africa now, where the white farmers are leaving, because all the knowledge is gone. And now the only things left to run South Africa are the locusts. And that will just be like Rhodesia, won't it? They'll all starve to death after eating all the bloody animals that they can poach and kill and slaughter. What a tragedy. But South African black government don't want the white farmers to leave. Oh, really? Not without teaching them how to farm. No, because what have they been doing for their last 100 years? Oh, simply consuming and breeding. They haven't been learning how to be self-sufficient and farm off those who are willing to teach them. Because they're lazy bastards. That's all. I despise people like that who just leech and parasite off people. And that's exactly what's happening in New Zealand. What are they there for? No. Well, there we are. I've ranted enough about that. It's a tender spot for me. But if it weren't for the white Caucasians, us nasty bastards, us alleged racists, the world will be a different place, wouldn't it? I wonder if there really would be aeroplanes, and I wonder if there would be antibiotics and super medicines. I wonder if we would have cars at all. If you took the whites and we never existed on this world, what would the blacks and foreigners have done with it? Probably still in the dark ages with spears and bows and arrows. I wonder if they'd had the wheel. What do you think? Answers on a postcard below, folks. Hope you're well. I'll catch you tomorrow when I'm more wide awake. Dib dib. Don't think too harshly. I'm not a racist. I'm a racialist. I look at the effects of what race has upon the earth. White Caucasians are and will always be the superior species on this earth, until we're wiped out by the illiterate foreigners, which is coming our way. You mark my words.